I walked into the building like I had done 1,000 times before. Same glass doors. Same security desk. Same smell of coffee and printer ink mixed together. I even nodded at the guard, expecting the usual nod back. It didn't come. Instead, he frowned at his screen. Can you try again?" he said. I swiped my card a second time. The red light blinked. A soft beep followed. Rejection. "That's weird," I muttered, half laughing. "Must be a glitch." The guard didn't laugh. He leaned closer to his monitor, typing fast. His fingers stopped. His face changed. "Sir, your access isn't in the system." I stared at him. "What do you mean, not in the system?" "I'm here every day." He glanced around, then lowered his voice. "Your name doesn't show up anymore." That was the first crack. I told myself it was nothing. Some IT mistake. Some stupid update gone wrong. I thanked him, turned around, and pulled out my phone to call Caleb. Straight to voicemail. That's when I heard the laughter. It came from the open conference room down the hall. Low voices. Familiar voices. People I had built this place with. People who used to clap me on the back and say things like "we couldn't have done this without you." I slowed my steps without meaning to. "About time," someone said, laughing. "I honestly didn't think it'd be that clean," another voice replied. Then Caleb's voice, calm, controlled, the same tone he used in meetings. It had to be done. This way was easier. My stomach dropped. I stood there, half hidden behind the wall, listening like I didn't belong to my own life anymore. Someone said my name. Not loudly. Not with anger. Just casually. Like I was already gone. "That look on his face when he realizes," a woman said, laughing softly. I didn't wait to hear the rest. I stepped into the room. The laughter died instantly. Every face turned toward me. Smiles froze. Someone cleared their throat. Caleb didn't look surprised. That hurt more than anything else. "What's going on?" I asked. My voice sounded steady. I don't know how. Inside, everything was shaking. Caleb stood up slowly. He straightened his jacket, like this was just another meeting. "Let's talk in my office," he said. Not our office. His. I followed him down the hall. Each step felt heavier than the last. When the door closed behind us, the silence was thick. "You removed my access," I said. "My name is gone." He nodded. "Yes." Just like that. "Why?" I asked. He folded his hands on the desk. "It was necessary." That word echoed in my head. Necessary. Like I was a problem to be fixed. "You didn't think to tell me?" I said. "After everything?" He looked at me then, really looked at me. No guilt. No regret. "You were holding things back," he said. "The company needs to move forward." The company. Not we. Not us. I laughed once. A short, broken sound. "So that's it?" "That's it." I walked out before he could say anything else. Lena was standing near the elevators. She had been waiting. I could tell. Her arms were crossed tight, her eyes fixed on the floor. "Did you know?" I asked. She didn't answer right away. That silence was worse than Caleb's honesty. "Lena," I said. "Did you know?" She nodded. Just a little. I didn't know how to tell you, she whispered. I didn't want to make things harder. I stared at her, trying to recognize the woman I loved. The one who used to say we were a team. The one who used to look at me like I was home. She still wouldn't meet my eyes. Something inside me cracked then. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just a quiet break, like a bone snapping under skin. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I didn't cause a scene. I just turned around and walked out. The doors closed behind me. The building stood there, tall and silent, like it had already forgotten me. As I stepped into the street, the noise of the city rushed in. Cars. Voices. Life going on like nothing had happened. But I knew something had. My name was gone. And with it, the person I thought I was. I didn't go home right away. I walked. No direction. No plan. Just moving so I wouldn't fall apart in public. Every few steps, my phone buzzed in my pocket. Emails. Notifications. System alerts telling me what I already knew. Access revoked. Account disabled. Meeting invites cancelled. It felt like watching my own funeral, quiet, efficient, final. I stopped at a cafe across the street from the office. The kind of place we used to meet clients. I sat by the window, ordered coffee I didn't want, and stared at the reflection of a man I barely recognized. My phone rang. Lena. I let it ring until it stopped. Then it rang again. I answered. Where are you? She asked. Her voice was soft. Careful. Not there, I said. Silence. I didn't want you to find out like that, she finally said. I laughed. I couldn't help it. How did you want me to find out, Lena? Over dinner? After dessert? That's not fair. No, I said. What you did isn't fair. She exhaled slowly. Caleb said it was already decided. I didn't think. You didn't think of me, I cut in. She didn't deny it. I was scared, she whispered. Everything was changing. I didn't want to lose what we had. I closed my eyes. What we had was honesty, I said. And you chose silence instead. Another pause. I thought it would blow over, she said. I looked at the empty chair across from me, imagining her sitting there, avoiding my eyes the way she had in the office. You watched them erase me, I said quietly. And you said nothing. She started crying. I could hear it in her breathing. That used to break me. It didn't anymore. I can't do this right now, I said. Don't call me again. I hung up before she could answer. The coffee arrived. I didn't touch it. Instead, I opened my laptop. Old habits die hard. I tried to log into my company email out of instinct. Access denied. That message stared back at me like an insult. I packed up and left. By the time I reached my apartment, the sun was already setting. The place felt too quiet. Every corner held memories, late nights, shared meals, promises whispered when we were both tired and hopeful. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was Marcus. I almost didn't answer. Hey, he said. His voice sounded nervous. I heard what happened. Did you? I asked. Yeah. I'm sorry. I sat on the edge of the couch. Sorry for what? For not saying anything, he said. A lot of us knew something was coming. We just didn't know when. I closed my eyes. Why didn't you warn me? I asked. We were scared, he admitted. Caleb made it clear anyone who spoke up wouldn't be around much longer. So you chose your job, I said. Yes, he said quietly. And I hate myself for it. I let the silence stretch. They were celebrating, I said. Did you see that part? Marcus didn't answer right away. Yeah. That was enough. After we hung up, I sat there for a long time, doing nothing. Thinking about every late night I stayed. Every sacrifice I made. Every time I put the company before myself. Before Lena. Before everything. I got up and opened the closet. A box fell from the top shelf and hit the floor. Papers spilled out. Old papers. Contracts. Notes. Early drafts. Things from before everything got complicated. Before trust became a weapon. I knelt down and picked one up. My handwriting. My name. I felt something stir inside me. Not hope. Not yet. But awareness. They removed my name from the system. Not from the story. I didn't sleep much that night. And when I did, I dreamed of doors closing, one after another, until I was standing alone. But for the first time since that morning, I didn't feel empty. I felt awake. Something had been taken from me. And something else had just begun. Morning came without sleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling, listening to the city wake up, my mind replaying yesterday on a loop. Caleb's calm voice. Lena's silence. The red light on the scanner. My name disappearing like it never mattered. I finally got out of bed and made coffee strong enough to burn my throat. I needed pain, something real, to drown out the dull pressure in my chest. My eyes drifted to the box on the floor. I hadn't meant to knock it over. It was one of those things you keep pushing aside, telling yourself you'll sort it one day. Papers from the early years. Back when everything was messy, hopeful, and honest. I sat on the floor and opened it fully. Contracts. Emails printed out. Handwritten notes with dates in the margins. I flipped through them slowly, like I was afraid they might vanish too. That's when I saw it. A document thicker than the rest. Yellowed at the edges. My signature on the last page. I frowned. I didn't remember signing this. I read the title again, slower this time. My heart started to beat harder. Property holding agreement. I swallowed. Back then, when we were just getting started, I handled the buildings. Offices, warehouses, spaces we couldn't afford outright. I remembered sitting at a cheap desk, running numbers late at night, telling Caleb we needed to protect ourselves. If the company fails, we don't lose everything, I had said. He'd shrugged. Do whatever you think is best. I had. I read every line now, my hands shaking. The holding company was separate. Entirely. The properties were leased to the business, but owned elsewhere. Owned by me. I leaned back against the couch, the air suddenly feeling too thin. No, I whispered. That can't be right. I checked again. And again. My name was there. Not removed. Not replaced. Signed, dated, sealed. They didn't read it. They celebrated my name being erased from a system they didn't even fully understand. My phone buzzed. A number I hadn't seen in years. Mr. Harlan. I hesitated before answering. You still awake? He asked. I never slept, I said. He chuckled softly. I figured. You want to come by? An hour later, I was sitting across from him in his quiet office. Bookshelves. Old law journals. The smell of dust and coffee. I slid the document across the desk. He adjusted his glasses and read in silence. Minutes passed. Then he smiled. Just a little. They really didn't read this, he said. So it's real? I asked. I didn't imagine it? No, he said. You were careful. Smarter than you gave yourself credit for. My chest tightened. What does that mean for them? He leaned back. It means the company operates out of buildings they don't own. It means they owe rent. And if they stop paying? They're out, I finished. Yes, he said. Legally. Cleanly. I stared at the document again. This time, I saw it differently. Not as paper, but as proof. I hadn't been useless. I hadn't been naive. I had just trusted the wrong people. Should I act now? I asked. Mr. Harlan shook his head. No. Let them show you who they really are first. People make mistakes when they think they've won. I nodded slowly. When I left his office, the world looked sharper. Louder. More alive. My phone buzzed again. A message from Lena. Can we talk? Please. I stared at it for a long moment. Then I turned the phone face down. This wasn't about revenge. Not yet. This was about clarity. They thought removing my name ended me. They thought silence meant weakness. They forgot something important. I was there at the beginning. I built the foundation they were standing on. And soon, they would realize. They were standing on something that still belonged to me. I stayed quiet. That was the hardest part. Every instinct in me wanted to step in, to reveal what I knew, to watch the color drain from Caleb's face the moment he realized how wrong he'd been. But Mr. Harlan's words echoed in my head. People make mistakes when they think they've won. So I let them think they had. Days passed. Then a week. I kept my distance, watched from the edges of my old life like a ghost. I didn't return calls. I didn't answer emails. I became invisible on purpose. And that's when the cracks started to show. The first sign came from Rachel. She wasn't someone I knew well, just a junior manager who had once asked me for advice during a late-night crunch. We ran into each other outside a coffee shop near the office. She froze when she saw me, like she'd spotted someone she wasn't sure she was allowed to talk to. Hey, I said. Her eyes darted around. Hey. I didn't think you'd still be around here. I'm hard to get rid of, I said, half smiling. She laughed nervously. Then leaned closer. Things are tense. Tense how? She hesitated. The landlord's been calling. A lot. And finance is scrambling. They didn't plan for some of the costs. I nodded slowly, saying nothing. Caleb's been snapping at everyone, she added. He keeps asking legal if they missed something. Missed everything, I thought. That night, I sat in my apartment with the lights off, watching the city glow outside my window. I imagined Caleb pacing his office, rereading documents, feeling that first spark of doubt. It felt strange. I wasn't happy. I was calm. My phone rang at 11:42 p.m. Lena. I let it ring until it stopped. Then a text came through. I just want to know you're okay. I stared at the screen. Where was that concern when my name disappeared? I didn't reply. The next day, Marcus sent me a message. They're behind on rent. That was all it said. I smiled for the first time in days. I didn't push. I didn't threaten. I didn't even move. I just watched. A few days later, I ran into Caleb in the parking garage. That wasn't planned. He looked tired. Dark circles under his eyes. His suit wrinkled, like he'd slept in it. When he saw me, his expression hardened, then flickered. "You've been avoiding me," he said. "I've been busy," I replied. "With what?" he asked. I shrugged. "Figuring out who I am without you." His jaw tightened. "We need to talk." "We already did," I said. "You said it was necessary." He looked away for a second. "You don't understand how complicated things are right now." I met his eyes. "Then maybe you should read everything this time." His face paled just a little. "What do you mean by that?" he asked. I stepped past him without answering. That night, the calls came faster. Unknown numbers. Voicemails left without messages. Panic hiding behind silence. I sat at my kitchen table, the old contract laid out in front of me, untouched. I wasn't ready to use it yet. I thought about Lena. About Marcus. About Rachel and everyone still inside that building, watching the walls close in. This wasn't revenge. This was gravity. When you pull the foundation out from under something, it doesn't fall right away. It groans. It cracks. It makes noise before it collapses. And all I had to do was wait. I didn't rush it. That surprised me the most. A week ago, I would have acted on impulse, sent angry emails, made threats, demanded answers. Now, I moved slowly, carefully, like someone handling something fragile and dangerous at the same time. The envelope sat on my kitchen table. Plain. White. No emotion in it at all. Inside were the eviction notices. Clean language. Legal wording. No blame. No explanations. Just facts and dates and consequences. The kind of paper that didn't raise its voice, but always got listened to. My hand hovered over the stack. I thought about Caleb, standing in front of a room, explaining this away. I thought about Lena, reading headlines later, telling herself she never meant for it to go this far. I thought about the people who laughed when my name disappeared. Then I signed. Once. Twice. 3 times. My hand shook on the last signature. Not from fear, but from the weight of knowing there was no undoing this. I slid the papers back into the envelope and sealed it. That was it. The first domino. I sent the documents through my lawyer that afternoon. By evening, my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. I didn't answer. The next morning, I parked across the street from the office building. I hadn't been back since the day I was erased. Sitting there now felt strange, like visiting a place that used to belong to someone else. People moved in and out like always. Coffee cups. Laptops. Forced smiles. At 10:17 a.m., the doors flew open. Caleb stormed out. He didn't see me at first. He was pacing, phone pressed to his ear, voice sharp and panicked. "No, that's not possible," he snapped. "Check it again." I watched him rub his forehead, something he only did when he was losing control. He turned and saw me. His steps slowed. His call ended without a goodbye. He walked straight toward my car. "You did this," he said, stopping a few feet away. I rolled down the window. "Did what?" I asked. His eyes burned. "The notice. The properties. This is you." I nodded once. "Yes. You planned this," he said. "You waited." I shook my head. "No. I planned for safety. You planned for betrayal." He laughed, but it sounded hollow. "You're going to ruin everyone. The company. The staff." "You already did that," I said. "The moment you decided I was expendable." He leaned closer. "We can fix this." That word again. Fix. How? I asked. "Renegotiate," he said quickly. "We'll bring you back in. Equity. Title. Whatever you want." I looked past him, at the building. At the windows that once reflected my life. "I don't want back in," I said. His face tightened. "Then what do you want?" I met his eyes. "I want what was already mine." Silence stretched between us. From the corner of my eye, I saw someone standing near the entrance. Lena. She hadn't meant to be seen. I could tell by the way she froze when our eyes met. She looked smaller somehow. Less certain. Her arms were wrapped around herself like she was cold. Caleb followed my gaze and turned. For a moment, none of us spoke. Then Lena stepped forward. "Please," she said. Her voice cracked. "This has gone far enough." I got out of the car. Standing there, between them, I felt something strange. Not anger. Distance. "You watched this happen," I said to her. "You told yourself it wasn't your place." Tears filled her eyes. "I was scared." "I know," I said. "That's why I don't hate you." Her face changed at that. Hope flickered. "But I don't trust you either," I added. Caleb scoffed. "You're enjoying this." I shook my head. "No. I'm ending it." I turned back to my car. "Wait," he said. His voice dropped. "If you do this, there's no coming back." I paused, hand on the door. "I already left," I said. "You just didn't feel it yet." I drove away without looking back. By noon, the news was spreading. By nightfall, the panic was real. And the envelope. The first one. Had finally been opened. The collapse didn't happen all at once. It came in waves. First, the meetings behind closed doors. Then the sudden silence on group chats. Then the articles, short at first, buried in business sections, using careful words like restructuring and unexpected disputes. I read them without satisfaction. By the third day, my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. "Is this you?" a voice asked. "Yes," I said. "This is finance. We need to talk." I didn't answer. I didn't need to. I sat at my kitchen table, watching the light shift across the floor, thinking about how quickly loyalty disappears when money gets tight. I thought about the people inside that building, some of them good, some of them quiet, all of them afraid. That afternoon, Lena showed up at my door. I hadn't invited her. She stood there with red eyes and a face that looked like it hadn't slept. For a moment, I almost didn't recognize her. Not because she'd changed, but because I had. I just want to explain, she said. I stepped aside and let her in. She walked slowly, like she expected me to throw something. Instead, I sat down. She stayed standing. They're cutting staff, she said. Caleb's losing control. He didn't think it would go this far. I looked at her. Neither did you. She swallowed. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did, I said. And then you stayed quiet while it kept happening. She shook her head, tears falling freely now. I was afraid if I spoke up, I'd lose everything. I leaned back in my chair. And what did you lose anyway? She didn't answer. I loved you, I said. Saying it out loud didn't hurt the way I thought it would. But love doesn't survive cowardice. Her shoulders collapsed. I'll talk to him, she said quickly. I'll make him stop. We can fix this. I stood up. No, I said. You don't get to fix what you didn't protect. She looked at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Who are you now? She asked. I thought about that. I'm someone who listens when people show me who they are, I said. She left without another word. That night, Caleb called. I answered. I made a mistake, he said. His voice was raw. Stripped of confidence. I didn't think you'd go this far. You thought I'd disappear, I replied. Yes, he admitted. I thought you'd walk away. I did, I said. You just kept standing on what I owned. He laughed weakly. We were partners. No, I said. We were convenient to each other. Until I wasn't. There was a long pause. Is there any way out of this? He asked. I closed my eyes. For a moment, I imagined forgiving him. Imagined stepping in, saving the company, restoring order. Being the bigger person everyone praised. Then I remembered the laughter. I'm not destroying you, I said quietly. I'm just not saving you. That silence on the other end felt final. The next day, the headlines grew louder. Names were mentioned. Investors pulled back. The building emptied faster than it ever had during normal hours. Guilt crept in when I saw a former coworker packing a box. Fear flickered when I realized how wide the damage spread. But then I reminded myself. I didn't pull the trigger. I just stopped shielding them from the consequences. Late that night, I sat alone, holding the old contract in my hands. The same document that had once felt like insurance now felt like judgment. Apologies had come. Too late. They weren't meant to heal. They were meant to escape. And for the first time since my name disappeared, I didn't feel responsible for saving anyone but myself. I thought power would feel loud. I imagined satisfaction, maybe even relief. The kind that makes you stand taller, breathe easier. But when everything finally tipped in my favor, what I felt most was quiet. The calls slowed. The emails stopped. The chaos that once filled my phone faded into a dull silence. I met Noah 2 days later. He was younger than I expected, sharp-eyed, calm in a way that made you trust him without trying. Mr. Harlan had recommended him, said he handled messes without turning them into spectacles. Congratulations, Noah said as we shook hands. You're in control now. I frowned. That's not what this is. He smiled slightly. That's what everyone says before they realize it's true. We sat across from each other in a small conference room. I laid everything out of the properties, the leases, the collapse, the people caught in the middle. Noah listened without interrupting. You have options, he said when I finished. You can be ruthless. You can be generous. Or you can be precise. I don't want to be cruel, I said. But I won't be used again. He nodded. Then we restructure. Cleanly. Ethically. For the first time since this started, I felt something loosen in my chest. That afternoon, I signed papers that put everything back under my name. No celebration. No champagne. Just ink and intent. I walked out into the street afterward, blending into the crowd. No one recognized me. No one knew what had just changed. And I liked it that way. Later that evening, Marcus texted. I'm out, the message read. They're shutting it down. I stared at the screen. I'm sorry, he added. For everything. I typed a reply, deleted it, then typed again. I know. That was all. Over the next few days, I helped where I could. Quietly. Anonymous transfers. Short-term leases. I didn't announce it. I didn't attach my name. This wasn't about being seen. It was about choosing who I wanted to be now that no one was choosing for me. I ran into Rachel again outside the same coffee shop. You look different, she said. So do you, I replied. They say you're the reason it's all ending, she said carefully. I met her eyes. They say a lot of things. She hesitated. Is it true? I thought about the word true. It's true that I stopped holding everything up, I said. Gravity did the rest. She nodded slowly, like that made sense. That night, I sat alone in my apartment, lights low, the city humming beyond the windows. I thought about Lena. About Caleb. About the version of myself that would have chased their approval even after being cut out. Power didn't feel like revenge. It felt like responsibility. It felt like restraint. For the first time in my life, I wasn't reacting. I was deciding. And that was something no one could ever take from me again. I walked past the building one last time on a quiet morning. The sign was gone. The glass doors were locked. Inside, the lights were off, and the space looked smaller than I remembered, like something powerful that had lost its voice. For months, that place had been my world. My worth. My proof. Now it was just concrete and glass. I stood across the street, hands in my pockets, and waited for something to rise up inside me. Anger. Pride. Victory. Nothing came. Instead, I felt distance. Clean and steady. A memory surfaced, me standing in that same spot years ago, holding a cheap coffee, telling Caleb we'd made it. Telling Lena we were building something that mattered. Back then, I believed success meant being needed. I know better now. I didn't go inside. I didn't need to. The chapter had already closed. My phone buzzed. One last message from an unknown number. I should have listened to you. I didn't reply. Some words aren't meant to be answered. They're meant to be carried. I turned away and kept walking. Later that day, I sat at my kitchen table, the same one where I'd signed the first eviction notice. The contract lay folded in a drawer now, no longer heavy, no longer sharp. Just paper again. Funny how something that once felt like a weapon could become a reminder instead. I thought about the moment my name disappeared from the system. How small it made me feel. How quickly I believed it meant I was nothing without them. That was the real betrayal. Not what they did, but what I almost let it do to me. I made dinner for one. Ate slowly. No rush. No noise. Just the sound of my own breathing, steady and calm. I realized something then. They didn't erase me. They revealed me. They stripped away the roles I hid behind: the partner, the fixer, the one who stayed quiet to keep the peace. When all of that was gone, I finally saw who I was without their approval. And I liked him. The man who didn't beg to be chosen. The man who listened when silence spoke. The man who walked away instead of burning everything down. That night, I slept deeply for the first time in weeks. No dreams of closing doors. No echoes of laughter. Just rest. In the morning, sunlight filled the room, soft and ordinary. I stood by the window, watching the city wake up, knowing my life would never go back to what it was. And I didn't want it to. Somewhere out there, people were still telling the story wrong. Saying I came back with vengeance. Saying I destroyed something out of spite. Let them. The truth was quieter. I didn't return to punish anyone. I returned to myself. And that was the kind of ending no one could take away. End.